What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, we're going to be breaking down what's going on with Tesla stock, what's going on with the overall market, what news just came out, and why Tesla's absolutely ripping to the moon, continuing to break out as it looks extremely bullish. It's continuing to push very, very nicely. But before I break anything down about why on earth this is, what's going on with Tesla, and etc., let me just mention a couple of things. I am firstly not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Webull link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Webull, the link down below, and deposit any amount of money into the account, you are guaranteed up to 6 free stocks. If you deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks plus 6 months of level 2 data. If you put in $25,000 or more, you're guaranteed 70 free stocks plus 12 months of level 2 data. Offerings in just about 13 days. Check it out before they run out. Anyways, let's talk about what's going on with the market. Looking at Tesla, I want to show you guys something interesting. We had this white trend line of support on the daily time frame. It's very simple. Every time we touched the support, we bounced, and we touched it today, sort of. We actually came a little below it technically, but then we ended up bouncing very nicely. It's not just based on technicals, but also the news and the data. So what happened with the data? Guys, in my video, from earlier today, since yesterday I've been saying this data that's coming out is going to be huge. It's going to cause a massive move in the stock market. This data helps Tesla push even higher. It was actually already pushing since we opened, but it pushed even higher once this data came out. And so did SPY and Apple and the entire stock market. But the question is, why did this happen? What's going on with the data? Well, the PMI report from the morning was as expected, and so was the global services PMI. Everything was fine at 9:45. Then at 10 o'clock a.m., the rest of the data came out. Basically, everything was bullish except for just a couple of things that were like neutral. The ISM services PMI was bullish. This was above expectations, showing more strength in the economy and that the service sector is still strong. This also suggests that we're going to get a decent GDP, or like a GDP that's like not too recessionary just yet, which means the US may not be in a true economic, quote unquote, economic recession for now. To be in a recession, you need, from an economic standpoint, right? You need there to be two consecutive negative GDP quarters. As of right now, the data suggests we're not going to get it for this quarter, at least for like the previous one. And the market is still looking at some decent looking data. The jobs numbers were a little bit below expectations, which is still okay, not too bad. And everything else was as expected, if not better. Everything else was pretty good, and the market ended up loving it. So strong economic indicators showing the economy is still holding up, at least on paper, right? Not saying that these numbers are accurate or that you should trust them. I'm just saying that this is the data that's coming out, and the market's going to respond to that. When it comes to Tesla, they're opening, several more chargers for third-party brands in China, which is good news for them. That's going to be adding 350 superchargers and over 260 destination chargers for Tesla. This gives them control at over 1,800 locations, and they're continuing to grow moving forward. On top of this, some new data has come out. Tesla's eyeing a record Q4 sales in China amidst the EV price war. Basically, insurance registrations in China were at 17,600 last week, up 5.4% from 16,700. On top of that, we're starting to see a trend that's not breaking yet when it comes to the Model 3 registrations, and Tesla is on track to meeting its goal of 1.8 million vehicles to be delivered in 2023. So far in Q4, Tesla China insurance registrations are looking quite decent, and Tesla's on track to once again meeting its goals, which is great news for them. However, I just want to call out that the overall production and the sales for November were not the strongest, but it looks like we're going to get a very strong December, and the registrations are starting to go up. So this is good news for Tesla. When it comes to Norway, we have some more good news. The Norway passenger auto registrations are up again, and we're getting some good numbers. Total EVs made up 90% of the registrations. EVs are becoming bigger and bigger, and they're killing it in Norway. And down here, you can see the Model Y is just killing it as well, which is even more good news for Tesla. So good news after good news after good news just kept coming out, and the market started ripping after we got the next economic reports. Looking at SPY, this thing is continuing to uptrend, making higher highs and higher lows. In my video, I was saying that, hey, we didn't officially break critical support. I know a lot of people were saying the market's going to tank, it's going to do this and that, and you could be correct. We could see some downside approaching FOMC, but I warned you to not become extremely bearish until we break critical support, which we haven't done so far. Then I warned you all that it's possible for SPY to get a rip to the upside. after the data comes out, it could be very tricky or it could come down. Be prepared for anything and wait and see what we end up looking at when it comes to data. And lo and behold, Tesla is up like crazy. SPY is up pretty big right now. NEO is green after its earnings came out. Apple is just ripping. QQQ is up exactly at the level we called it at 388 if we turn bullish. Nvidia is also up. Microsoft is up. Most stocks out there are green. They're continuing to rally, and the market is still holding up for the time being. So I just wanted to warn you about that. What are some levels to watch for? Let's go back to Tesla. Tesla basically hit this support, came a little bit below it, then it bounced, and now Tesla's basically at 245. So I told you if we get above 240, it's going to rip up. I warned you about this. This data was coming out. Expect a big move. I was not trying to clickbait you. I wasn't trying to trick you. I just told you the truth from what I was thinking. And this data was so important, right? The data suggests that it's less likely we're going to enter an economic recession, and the market is celebrating. The market's excited, and the market's just continuing to hold up. Tesla is currently testing resistance at 245. If we get above this, you're going to be watching this thing try to get close to 247. And above that, we have this blue trend line coming next, very close to 250. That's going to be our next resistance. If it breaks this blue trend line, it's going to rip even more. But I think initially it might be a little tricky to break this. If we do break it, we have the orange trend line coming next, and this is going to take us towards the lower 250s, and Tesla could start pushing even higher. As of right now, Tesla is on an uptrend. It's making higher highs and higher lows. At least for the most part, it's been doing that, and now it's trying to push up even more. So watch that resistance. We're at 245. Above that, the next critical resistance is 247, then at 250 above that. For support, there's some support at 244. Below that, we have 242, 240, and then 238. Watch those supports. As of right now, Tesla's holding up nicely, so watch your levels. On SPY, like I said earlier, I'm not turning super bearish until I see support break. I'm not turning super bullish until we see resistance break. As of right now, SPY held support, and this thing is trying to uptrend. So, what does this mean? We're going to be watching some very important levels. Let me just call out what these levels are. So for supports, we have some minor levels to be watching for. 456 is going to be very key for support. That's our 200 EMA on the 5 minutes time frame right over here. Sorry if this is kind of small, by the way. If it breaks below this, it has the potential to come down towards 455.5. As of right now, we're still holding up, and it's been uptrending since. If we start breaking out more, watch 457 as resistance. If we get above that resistance, the next level is going to be 457.5 and then 458. If we break 458, this thing has the potential, in my opinion, to try to fill this gap up here. We have a gap all the way up to the 459 area. So it's right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. If we get above 458, I think this gap is going to fill all the way into the almost 459 area. It is still a possibility, and I would not necessarily rule out SPY as dead just yet. So just wait and see if we get that gap fill or not. That was a crazy pump we got. It was very fun to make money off of it. And I was warning everyone, you got to be careful because this market is not just super bearish. We're still seeing buyers defend, and they're still fighting very, very hard. Okay, so now I think we're at 456.5. Watch that as resistance. Then we have 457, 457.5 to 458. And then we have the other resistance levels above that. For support, don't forget to be watching the critical level 456. We have some support there. Then 455.25 to 455. If we want to turn bearish, you want to see it lose 454.5, like around this area here. That's when we turn bearish. On the 4-hour time frame, you want to see it basically lose 454 flat, and that's when you turn bearish. We haven't officially done that yet. Could that happen in the future? Yes, it can. It could still break down. But as of right now, the chart is not really doing that, and it doesn't make sense to turn extremely bearish yet. Okay, so I just wanted to warn you about that. What about Apple? I was saying Apple could get a breakup. I wasn't even expecting to push this much. We just got some bullish news. But Apple has been ripping very, very nicely. It actually broke its resistance, and it's approaching this key level up here. So I'm going to actually delete some of these lines. I know I have a lot of them drawn out, guys. It's just because I use smaller time frames and just like I try to just draw out as much as I can. I'm going to close some of these for now, and I'll redraw them if I have to. But I just want to call out that Apple has broken the high it made previously, like right here. And with that being said, it's approaching resistance right over here. So we're going to be watching this wick right here. This is where we have resistance. This is the level I was looking at earlier. So it's like right here, very close to 194.4 around that range. And we also have support that's kind of like being built up from right here. So right here, this is the level of support I was looking at, 193.5-ish, like around there. It's going to be a level worth watching. Let's see if we can try to hold around this range, at least for the time being. If we lose that, there's 193, 192.5, and the list goes on. But as of right now, we're holding up decently. Let's see if this thing can try to break 194. If we break this, there's a gap to fill all the way up to like 195. Apple is still holding up decently, so make sure you watch your levels. On top of that, the last two I'm going to talk about are the QQQ and Nvda. For the QQQ, it's not looking extremely strong or extremely weak. This is still in an interesting place, but you can see we're at 187 right now. If it tries to break up higher, we have this resistance right here at 188. If we had 388, excuse me, if 388 broke, then 390 is another possibility. For support, you're going to be watching 383. If we lost that, we would turn more bearish. As of right now, we're kind of range trading. We haven't officially broken below 383 yet. And if we do break it, we'll turn a lot more bearish. In my opinion, the QQQ is not breaking down yet. It's very sideways. It could try to break higher, but we're just hitting some resistance. We also happen to have this gap. So if we get above 388, there's a chance it tries to get up to this like 390 gap. But resistance is kind of slowing it down, so it's not extremely strong. So we're going to be watching to see if this thing can try to hold at these particular levels. But we did get a rip, so we'll see how this holds up. And to turn bearish, you want to see this thing basically lose 385. We're kind of struggling to break this resistance now, so we'll just watch and see how it goes. But like I said before, don't turn extremely bearish until we start losing support. We're still holding decently, so just wait and see. Be a little patient, at least for the time being. On top of this, for Nvidia, it made an attempt to break out, but it ended up failing, coming just short. I was talking about 465 being tested. That's where Nvidia went to, but now it's starting to come back down to 460. Watch support at 459 to 460. If we lose that, it could drop a little bit more towards 456. As of right now, it's holding up decently, so we'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. It was very awesome to see Tesla rip the way it did. Market is turning just a little bit right now, but I'm not extremely bearish until we lose particular supports. We haven't done that yet, so we are still stuck in our range, and Tesla's outperforming the market, holding up nicely. So watch support on Tesla. Watch 244, 242, and etc. And just know we just made a very explosive move. If the market pushes more later on, we could see Tesla try to keep going. There's no sign Tesla's dead just yet or done with the pump. So just wait and see how it holds up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, and peace out.